TEDx is on Saturday, May 21st, and we are so excited this year because Jared Freid is going to be closing out the event. You're not going to want to miss it. Jared, thank you so much for joining me today to talk a little bit about your comedy career and what we can expect to see here in Reno.
I'm very excited to come to Reno. I basically, a lot of my comedy career has been talking about dating. I give, somehow I've been tasked with answering all of the world's dating questions, and I'm not an expert. I've never said that I'm an expert. I'm just kind of just a normal guy that is going through it with the people that are asking the questions. And I think, I'm 37. Facebook came out while I was in college. And then the intersection of dating and technology has changed from when I graduated college to now so much. And it's all stuff that you can't go to your parents to talk about. So I think right now everyone feels a little bit alone. Like if you go to your parents and say, what does it mean when the guy likes 10 of my Instagram pictures in a row? They'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, what does it mean when the guy only gives me a Snapchat and never texts me? What does it mean and I've been in those positions. I've been the guy that's been like, hey, take my Snapchat. I've been the guy that's liked 10 pictures in a row. And that, all this information, sometimes that's a little icky to talk about. And I think, so what a lot of people do is they come to me, they go, just give an honest answer, because I think a lot of people, it's hard to be completely honest with people because romance is a lot of reading between the lines and not really sure, as the will they, won't they. There's a reason Jim and Pam was an entertaining 3 seasons of The Office. And so I get tasked with answering kind of like from the perspective of the guy you dated, the guy you dumped, the guy who dumped you, your cousin, your brother, your friend, the person in your office that you kind of have a flirty relationship with. And and just being open and honest about it and trying to be as vulnerable as possible. So when my comedy, when I do stand up, you talk about things in your life. You're just talking about things you're going through. And I think currently I'm talking a lot about dating because, I think I have the frustration, and I think if I have it, most people do, because I'm just kind of the center of the bell curve. I'm just kind of an average dude. I think the pandemic feels like it took time away from us. And, when the pandemic started, I was 35. I was a mid-30s guy. Now I'm late 30s. I'm 37, and, you go, oh my God, when my parents were this age, they had this, I was this years old. And, it's tough to compare yourself to your parents because it was totally different then, but then we do. So I think a lot of people are kind of, when it comes to dating, they're wondering, what am I doing wrong? I've lost these 2 years. I want life, the next phase of life to happen. What am I? Because a lot of people they're going, I tried the digital dating. I tried, reaching out to, the friend that felt like not maybe like a flirty relationship. I've tried, DMing. I must be doing something wrong. And I think if for a TEDx, what I'm trying to kind of get across is, and again, I don't have the answers, but like, you can really only trust your own feelings, because right now there's a lot of people on the internet who are going to tell you, don't do this, and here are 5 rules for that, and never text back, and don't be too much or too this or too that. And it's like, I don't believe that you can be too anything. I think anyone who has the ability to watch a TEDx is probably a pretty sane, normal person. And the idea that them texting too many times lost them a relationship, I think is fraud.
You keep saying that you're not an expert. I will say though, listening to You Up, which is the podcast that you co-host, you guys talk about dating issues, people write in their problems. You have helped my group chat talk about, like, we see things from a different perspective. My friend and I always say, what would Jay and Jay say? Like, if Jared, you were telling him this, how do you think he would respond to it? And it definitely I think has helped make dating a little more enjoyable because, like you said, you are giving a different perspective. And so the listener and the viewer can go into a dating experience and go, okay, well, maybe I wouldn't have thought of this before. So like you are providing that to people.
Well, I appreciate that. I think my job is to give a calm voice to the other side of things. And I think, it's easy to give advice. It's hard to take advice. So I'm in the easiest position in the world. Someone comes to me with their questions, I can speak freely and honestly, and I don't have to see the reaction on their face. I don't have to see them be upset, because sometimes it's upsetting news. But the perspective that I'm giving is to say, and again, some of this information I'm giving is tough medicine. And I understand that. And it took me a while to understand that. When I first started talking about it, I'd be like, I'm just making fun of it. And they'd be like, well, this is the hardest thing in my life. I think, for some people, dating is the hardest thing they deal with every day. That's not an exaggeration. And, what I come in with is the perspective that I hope people realize, like, even though you're dating a person, it's not personal. The person on the other side of the table is going through stuff too. They don't have the answers for you if you're, and that's goes back to the point of, like, that's why you can only trust your feelings. Like, if you're on a date and not having a good time, I have so many people that write into the podcast, oh, I've gone on 6 dates and I don't know about them. I'm like, leave them. Just because they're dealing with you doesn't mean that they're to be dealt with, and I think sometimes people need just to hear that from someone, that they're not crazy, that they're not insane for feeling, because and to hear that other people are dealing with similar things. And you talk about the group chat, like you sometimes the phone is lonely, even though it gets us out to the world, but you're on your group chat and you're like, well, it must be just us having these issues. No, everyone is having these issues and everyone's trying to figure it out. And the minute you're starting to figure out the feelings in other people's heads, that you're going to be lost.
And as someone who tends to overthink things, your conversations that you have with Jordana really does help bring things back into perspective. And like you said, like, everyone's going through the same thing. And at the end of the day, when it comes to dating, we're all experiencing the same situations and coming across the same types of people. And so it is nice to know, okay, someone who lives, in another country who's written into the podcast, they're experiencing the same stuff. So it's not just, here in Reno, Nevada, or in New York, or wherever you're at.
And I think the other issue is, like, I like hearing that we, like, bring some rational thought to it, because, now the dating world has kind of been infiltrated by, like, very big buzzwords, like the word gaslighting. Gaslighting, to me, not be, it sounds like a very serious offense, and it is. And it gets thrown around in dating world all the time, and you go, how do we suss out if someone's, and that becomes an issue, because you go, I have to address the very real issue of gaslight. I have to take this person's word for it, because I'm not here to not believe them. And then you have to also go, well, is there another thing that might be going on? Are they just trying to give a bigger reason for why it's not working out with someone when they wished it did? So that's a hard part about dating today, is like, if someone comes in and drops a bomb, like the word gaslight, you go, we have to address this bomb, and that also makes these conversations more difficult.
Dating is definitely complex.
Yes.
But also, I really love the awkward sex segment.
Who doesn't?
Those are great. Steering away a little bit from dating, I have to ask, how did you get into loving The Bachelor so much? Because we love your live streams that you do during The Bachelor and Bachelorette.
I love reality TV generally. So I've always been a fan. I've watched literally my whole life. I've been watching reality TV. I was never really a scripted guy. And I liked watching with someone I was dating. Like when I would like watching over the shoulder of a woman that I was seeing, or with her friends or whatever. And I like The Bachelor because it's like, people are like, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. I know it's fake. All reality TV is fake. Everything that is out there is fake. Your Instagram profile is fake. None of us look like that. So it's a glossed up version of us. So what I like on The Bachelor are the small moments. The small moments are like actual real things. Everyone has broken up with someone. Everyone's asked someone on a date. Everyone's had the first kiss. Everyone's felt like they connected with someone that maybe they won't connect with later. And The Bachelor has that in little tiny scenes. And I like the ability to like kind of like play off that and make jokes about it because it's relatable. And then, I compare it to professional wrestling. Like I know wrestling isn't real. I know WWE, it's all scripted, but they still got to jump off the top rope. That still hurts to jump off a top rope and do the elbow drop. Same thing with The Bachelor. It might all be fake, but it's still, someone's got to make a first move. Someone's got to make a first kiss.
Well, you speak or scream exactly what we are screaming at the TV. It's like, gosh, you got this spot on. And I want to ask what it was like being on the Tonight Show. As someone who's like listened to your podcast, that was really exciting. We feel like we know you week after week listening. It seems weird, but we were so excited for you to be on the Tonight Show. And like, what was that experience like?
It was very cool. It was the greatest pleasure. It's interesting because you do a podcast to find people to like your stuff, to watch the live stream, to come to your shows. Like it's all that is to get me to do stand-up. And so I've been doing stand-up every night for 12 years. And that's weird to even say for me. But when I start, stand-up is always the goal. And there's another comic, Kyle Kinane, who I've never even met, but I heard this from him. And I thought it was just a really smart way to put it. Stand-up's the prize. You get to do stand-up if you do all the other stuff. I love doing podcasts. I love doing the live stream, but it is that is work, like writing stand-up is work, but then going on stage and having people excited to be there. And like, so, it's interesting because I would do these podcasts and the podcasts started getting very popular and the live stream gets very popular and my Instagram gets very popular. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm a good stand-up. Like I'm in this world. Like when people talk about people with Netflix specials, I'm like, I'm in that world, and it's hard to not, sound a certain way. You have to be so, like I'm envious of people with stand-up specials. It would be a lie if I didn't say that, but I'm proud of my friends. Like I'm proud to be a part of that group, but it feels weird because you're like, man, people don't even know I am in that world. And so doing the Tonight Show was like major validation. It was, you have 12 years of doing something and no one knows about it, or people know, but they don't know unless they've come before or whatever. And then to have like my parents be like, everyone at their like, all their neighbors are talking about it. Like, wow, it like becomes real. And I had no thoughts of like, I am not delusional when it comes. I'm delusional for sure, but like I've been doing this 12 years and I've had very many small wins. There's never been like a guy that comes up to me and is like, you're going to Hollywood. Like that's never happened. That does happen. Like I know people where they've had breaks and they shoot out of a cannon. I've never had that. I don't expect that to happen. So when I did the Tonight Show, I never had the thought of like, oh, Mr. Hollywood is going to shake my hand and give me a big check and fly me off to my new sitcom. I was just like, it's just really nice for my family and, personal like validation to know like, okay, you ain't crazy. You're in that group,
Well, you're not crazy. You are hilarious. You're doing
Thank you.
Great work. We're so excited to have you at TEDx on Saturday, May 21st here in Reno. If you want to buy tickets, go to TEDxReno.org and we'll see you there, Jared.
Thank you so much.